Hello Sumit, you're welcome back to my channel. So in this video we'll be learning how to draft a dartless pencil trouser. If you want to see the sewing parts, let me know in the comment section. This is all about drafting and it's for my beginners. Okay, so let's get started without wasting time. Okay, so here's a video of the dartless trouser I promised to upload for us. So it's going to be a pencil trouser, dartless pencil trouser block pattern. So to get started without wasting our time, these are the measurements needed. This is the full length of the trouser. It is 39 inches. Then the hip measurement 40 inches, the towel measurement, which is your lap, the circumference 24 inches, then the knee measurement 17 inches for the circumference also. Then this 33 inches is my waist measurement. Okay, so I'm going to show us what I did with the paper, the pattern paper. So you know the full length, like I've just said, is 39 inches. So I measured it, right? So here is 39 inches. I added extra 2 inches to it for hemming allowance to fold it, to hem it. So I'm now having 41 inches as a full length I'm working with. So when making your own, let's assume your full length is 40. You add extra 2 inches for folding or hemming allowance. Depend on how big you want the hemline to be. That's how big, that's how much allowance you add to your full length. Okay, so we will go ahead to draft now. So I'll be shifting the paper towards this other side so we can see. So my measurement is coming from this end to this end. This is the pattern paper, right? The first thing you need to do, the first thing you need to take when drafting, the first measurement you need to input when drafting your trouser is your hip height measurement. That is from your waist to where your hip measurements should lie on. That's your hip height. I'm going to attach a picture of how to measure that, so that you understand what I'm talking about for the newbies among us. So my hip height is 8 inches. So I will come down here and I'll mark 8. I'm just going to extend it a little bit. 8. Then after that, the next thing I'm going to do now is rule the 8 inches across. So we're going to be drafting the front pattern and the back pattern separately so that I don't confuse the beginners among us. Okay, I normally draft my pants pattern front and back together, but for you not to be confused, I'm just going to do it separately. So for this, we've gotten, this is where the hip will be resting on. So I'm just going to put H here to represent the hip measurement. Then the upper part is the waistline. So I'm just going to put W there to represent the waistline. The next thing we want to do is to get the crotch measurement. You know where that curve comes from when you're making your trouser, that's the crotch. So we have to get the crotch measurement. Now we are making a pencil trouser, it's not a palazzo trouser, right? So what you do, divide your hip. This is the hip, right? This is our hip measurement, 40. Divide it by 4. Whatsoever it gives to you is your crotch. So my hip measurement is 40. If you divide 40 by 4, it will give you 10, right? So it means my crotch measurement is 10 inches. So I'm going to mark from the waistline, I'll mark 10 inches downwards. And I'll connect a straight line. So in a situation whereby you're making a palazzo trouser, you can add extra 1 inch to your crotch. Okay, now you see this crotch measurement is giving us 10. So if I was making a palazzo trouser, now I'm going to add extra 1 inch to it. But because it's a pencil trouser and you want it fitted, everywhere fitted, just go ahead and divide by 4 only, and it's going to give you the perfect fit. So I'm going to connect the crotch line like so. So now this place is our crotch, right? So the next thing you want to do is to get where the towel measurements will be resting on. How I do my own, the standard I use is that from my crotch, I will come down by 2 inches to get my towel measurement. That's the standard I use to get where my towel measurements will rest on, and it works for me very well. So here, this is the towel measurement. Don't forget, 2 inches from the crotch measurement. So now that I've gotten all of this, the next thing I want to do now is to get my hip circumference. Now this hip circumference, I'm going to measure it on the crotch line, then on the waistline. So my hip circumference is 40, divided by 4 is 10. So I will come to the crotch line, right, and I will mark 10. So here is 10 inches. I will come to the waistline and I will mark 10. Then here also is 10 inches. Then I will connect to a straight line. So this is what we have. Don't forget, this is the crotch line, and this is where the curve will be coming from, right? So now we've gotten this part. Now let's create the crotch curve, right? So how do you get the crotch extension? How do you get the extension, the right number to increase this space width to make your curve? What you do to get that whatever measurement you have as your hip measurement, you will divide it by 4. So if you divide 10 by 4, it will give you 2.25, which is 2 and half, 2.05. If you divide 10 by 4, it will give you 2.05. So from this part, from this measurement, I'm going to extend it by 2.05. So when I extend it like so, I'm going to create a curve. So I'm going to curve it. You can see the curve ruler I'm using. Then from this point now, I'm just going to make sure I blend it with the straight line. So I'll place it this way. You can see how I'm placing the ruler. Then when I see that it's connected enough, then I can now blend it, right? So the crush curve has been made, it's connected already. This one does not count. So the next thing we are going to do now is to impute my towel measurement. The towel measurement is 24. But before I can impute the towel measurement, which is this part, I will need to get the midpoint of the trouser I'm making, so that it will serve as a guide for me to impute the towel measurement and the knee measurement. So for us to get the midpoint of the trouser, the first thing I'll have to do is to get where my knee measurements will be resting on. So you can see that I'm shifting the paper upwards so that you can see. So from this part, what you have to do now is from the crush, right? So you know, we added extra 2 inches to the hem. So I will mark it away because it's not going to count. So now we need to get the knee measurement. So what you do to get your knee measurement, from the crush, this is the crush line, measure it to your main full length. You know, the full length is 39 inches. That's why I minus the extra 2 inches for hem. So when you measure from here to the full length of the trouser, divide it by 2. So when you divide it by 2, whatsoever it gives you from, this is when you divide it by 2, this is where it is. When you divide it by 2, this is the midpoint. From the crush to the full length of the trouser, that's the midpoint. But to get the knee measurement, you'll come up by 2 inches. So this one now is in case you did not measure the knee measurement of your client. This standard works all the time. Okay, so you divide from your crush to the full length of your trouser by 2, then you come up by 2. Do you understand? So I'm going to tag this place as the new line. Okay, so after doing that, the next thing I want to do now is to go ahead and impute the towel measurement. And like I said earlier, for you to be able to impute your towel measurement, you need to get the midpoint of the trouser, which is the center of the trouser. So what I'm going to do now, to get the midpoint of the trouser, from the crush extension now, you're measuring it straight down. So from this point to this point, whatsoever I have, I will divide it by 2. So to easily divide it by 2, I'll just fold my tape into 2 like this. Then I'll mark it. So how do I extend this marking downwards? I'm going to mark like this. This is 6 1/4. So I'm going to extend. I'm not going to extend it up because we don't need any. We are not putting that. This is a dartless pant. So now the 6.25, which is the 6 1/4, I'm going to extend it all the way to the full length of the pant. 6.25. Then I'm going to connect a straight line like this. So now we've gotten the midpoint of the trouser, right? So the next thing we want to do now is to impute the towel measurements. So the towel measurement is 24. Now we are going to divide the 24 by 4. This is the towel measurement. We'll divide it by 4. Okay? So it's 24. If you divide 24 by 4, what will it give you? First of all, if you divide 24 by 2, it will give you 12. Divide 12 by 2 again to give you 6. So it means our towel measurement is 6 inches to the left and 6 inches to the right. So don't forget, it's a fitted dartless trouser we are making. Can you see? So the next thing we'll be doing is to take our knee measurements. The knee measurements also, we are going to be dividing it by 4. So we are dividing 17 by 4. So first of all, I'm going to fold my tape into 2. First of all, divide 17 by 2. Then divide the other half by 2. So if you divide 17 by 4, it is going to give you 4.25. So I will come here and I will mark 4.25. Don't forget, if you are using this exact measurement, it is a fitted trouser you are making, like I said from the beginning. So 4.25 to the left, 4.25 to the right. Then I will come straight to the lower part, the full length of the trouser. Then here, my normal ankle measurement is 7, is 14. So it is 3.05 to the left, 3.05 to the right. Okay, so I'm going to extend the same thing to the hemline. So I'm measuring it separately because from here to here is going to be straight, so that it will be easy for me to fold in case I am sewing it. Okay, so now we are going to connect all the lines together. Okay, you can see that it's very easy to do. So now this is the 6.05 for the towel measurement here and here. So first of all, I'm going to connect from this point. Now you can see that the points are aligning. So I'm going to connect it straight from the towel. This is the other point. From the crotch, this is the marking for the towel, and this is the marking for the knee. So at this point, I'm going to make a straight line. Now you can decide to use your curved ruler also, but you don't make it too curvy. Okay, so it depends on what you want. So from that point, on this part, I'm not going to use a straight ruler. So let's connect all the points together here first at the center of the trouser. So can you see the lines? You can see the line I have made. So if you think that the line is not straight enough, you can straighten it. Okay. Okay. So we have that. I'm just going to extend it to the lower part. On this side, I will do the same. So the lower part. So you can see that the trouser is already coming together. So before we can connect from the waistline to the thigh line here, one thing you have to do is we have to take our waist measurement. So if you divide 33 by 4, so I'm first of all going to divide it by 2. Can you see? Then divide the remaining half by 2. So if you divide 33 by 4, it will give you 8.25. So I will come here and I will mark 8.25. Don't forget, we are making a fitted pencil trouser. So after marking the 8.25 here, I'm going to connect from this part to the hip line first. So we're connecting it to the edge, right? So from here, I'm going to place my ruler like this, okay? Then make a curve. Can you see that it's already coming out well? Then from the hip line, I'm going to connect to the thigh line, okay? I'm also using the curve ruler. So you place your ruler like this. So you make sure that the way you're placing the ruler is not generating any bulge, like it's not giving you any ear, so that by the time you finish sewing it, your trouser doesn't come out having ears by the side. Okay, so you can see how I blended this part. Can you see it? So you take note of the lines you're connecting, because that's how your trouser will come out. Okay, so on this part, I'm going to connect from the crotch line to the knee line, and I like to use my curve ruler like this. So you can see that I'm not using the curvy parts. So I'm not using a straight ruler yet too, because it doesn't really give me the curve. And you can see that I'm placing the ruler inverted, so that, because if I use it like this, can you see, it's just going to give me the bulging that I don't want, I'm trying to avoid. So that's why I'm putting it this way. It's always come out nice for me like this, using my ruler like this. So I'm just going to connect. You can see that I'm trying to avoid it being so curvy. So I'm just going to connect it this way. Okay, can you see the shape is giving at this side? You can see what it's giving. So from this point now, I'm just going to connect a straight line to this point. So can you see it? So on the center front, what you do is, at this point, you come down by ½ inch like this. This ½ inch you're coming down with, you connect it straight to the side with your straight ruler. Okay, you can also use your curve ruler. You connect it this way, so that by the time you finish sewing it and wear it, this place relaxes well to your center front. Okay, so this is what we have. Like this, the front pattern is ready, right? So this is the front pattern. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to cut it out. So when I cut it out, we'll go ahead to draft the back pattern together. So I'm supposed to cut this part in A, but I want to use it to get the back pattern first before trimming this part off. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to attach extra paper to the upper part so that it will be able to be enough for us to draft the back pattern. So I will do that off camera, attach extra paper and come back. So now I've gone ahead to tape extra paper to the remaining paper. So we have to draft the back pattern. So for the back pattern, it's just us tracing the front pattern again before getting the back pattern. Okay, it's very, very easy. So let's get started. So I'm going to take my pin. For it to be easier for me, I'm going to take my pin. I'm going to pin, this is the front pattern, right? So I'm going to pin it down. So just pin it on an extra sheet like this. So the only part we need to work on to get the back pattern is the center, okay? So this is the center back part of the front. So we want to create the center part for the back. So what you do is, on the waistline, you know this is the waistline, right? So this is the waistline, right? So what you will do, the first thing you will do is that you come in by 2 inches, right? So we're creating the back pattern now. So from the front pattern, come forward by 2 inches. And you are doing the same thing from the waistline to the hip line. Then you connect a straight line like this. Okay? Then blend the waist together also. Okay? So after doing that, on this center also, you are coming up by 2 inches. So you come up by 2 inches like this. So you are extending it to this new 2 inches. So these 2 inches you came up with, this is the center back, okay? So you are connecting these 2 inches we just came up with, you're connecting it straight to the side waistline, okay? So you just connect a straight line like this, okay? So now you'll be wondering why we are raising this part up. You know your front and your back side is not the same thing, especially for those with big bum bum. If you just make it flat for the back also, when you sit down, it's going to drag down and it will be showing your undies. So that's why you extend this place with 2 inches and blend it with the side. Okay, so that's the reason for this 2 inches extension. So after doing that, the next thing you want to do is to extend the crush. So this is the crush line. We're going to extend it a little like so. So now to get the back, to get the back crush line, okay? So what you have to do is to go ahead, you know, to extend the front crush line, we use 2.5, okay? 2.05, that's what we used. So to get the back crush line, you will add ½ inch. Anything you use in extending the front crush line, add ½ inch to it to get your back crush line extension. So if we add 0.5, which is ½ inch, to 2.05, it will give us 3 inches. So from here, I will mark 3 inches, okay? So from this 3 inches now, remember we're making the back crush, okay? So from the 3 inches, I'll come down by ½ inch, like so. So when I come down by ½ inch, it is from that ½ inch I will connect it, okay? So from the ½ inch, I'll place my ruler, same way we connected the crush, same way we want to create for the back. So I'm going to place my ruler from the ½ inch, making sure that it's blending with this 2 inches straight line we added, okay? So can you see what we have? Then you make sure you're blending it very well. So after doing that, you can see that we've connected the crush for the back line, for the back pattern. So what you do now, you're going to add 2 inches all the way down. You know, we've already added 2 inches like this. So the 2 inches serve all the way down, okay? So when you're drafting your pattern, you don't add, if you're drafting a fitted pattern, you don't need any extra allowance, because these 2 inches we're adding to the back alone serve as the sewing allowance for both the front and the back, okay? So you can see me, I'm extending the 2 inches all the way down. So what I will do is to connect it. Then to the hem also. So you can see what I'm doing. To the hem also, I'm adding 2 inches. So I'll just go ahead, roll a straight line like so. Then from this nail point now I'm going to connect to the crotch. Okay, so I'm going to try. If my curve ruler cannot, if my straight ruler cannot do it, I'm going okay. So I'm going to use my straight ruler to blend it like so. So you can see what we have. You can see how nice it is. So this place is kind of a little bit curvy, so I'm going to straighten it a bit. Okay, so here like this we are good to go. So now this is all about the back pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to make a straight line at the hemline like this. So what you do is that you go ahead and cut them together with the front pattern on it. Now you go ahead. So I'm going to get all the markings now so that I will be able to transfer all the details back to the back pattern. Okay, so this is the towel. So I'm just trying to get all the markings so that we don't get confused at the end of the day. So now I'm just going to cut it out. So you can see how I'm cutting it also, so you don't make mistake. So if you follow all the steps in this video, there is no way your trouser will not come out well. This is how I make my trousers. So if you want to see any other pattern of trouser, just let me know in the comment section, okay? And I will work at time. I will leave us when I will be able to do something like that. So this is how I make my pencil trousers, and it always come out well. If you also want me to sew it too, maybe you can do that in another video. You can drop a comment in the comment section so that we can sew it together also. So this is it. But if we're not doing a sewing video, I'm just going to keep my pattern until I want to make a trouser, a pencil trouser for myself. So this is what we have. I'm just going to remove all the pins. So I'm still going to get all the markings. Okay. So this is it. I'm tracing all the lines back so that you'll be able to see the outcome of what we've done. So here is the hip, here is the crotch, here is the tie, then here is the nail. Okay, so you know I added extra 2 inches for hemming, but to take it out, this is the full length. This is the full length. This is the hem. Okay, then we have the waistline here. Now don't forget that this is the back pattern. Then I'm going to take the lower part away, also mark the hem for the front. So this is the full length, this is the hem. Okay, so this is what we have. So if I want to get the midpoints now, so that we don't confuse, you don't really need to now start adding the midpoints back to the back, because you've already gotten the main pattern you want. So this is what you just place on your fabric and cut, then you sew. So now if you want me to make a sewing video of it, let me know in the comment section. So this is what we're able to achieve in today's video. Give this video a thumbs up. If you're new to my page, don't forget to follow, don't forget to like, so that you can see more, because I'm going to be uploading more free videos from now on. So bye, see you in my next video. Just drop a comment if you want us to sew it. Let me know in the comment section.